press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello students, welcome back to your social science class. Today we are going to continue the chapter Rise of Jainism and Buddhism, and we will also wind it up today. A little portion is remaining. Now we have understood about Buddha and Mahavira, who have rejected something called as the Varna system that was there in the Vedic period. In the Vedic age, they believed in the four Varnas: the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas and the Shudras. Women were included along with the line of Shudras and said as a weaker sections of the society. They didn't like it. They rejected that. They also believed that God is not present in everything that is there. They didn't, that is, God is not there in the daily affairs of people. A kind of atheism. They didn't completely reject the existence of God, but they believed that God is not present in every daily affair of man. That's the role of God in the daily affairs of man. Then they also gave some principles such vows. Okay, we have studied about certain principles of non-violence, truth, not to steal, not to have property. Now non-violence, they wanted a peaceful society, they wanted peace among people, love and care among people. They didn't want any violent methods that were there. They always stood for truth and said you should not steal nor you should have any property. Again, Mahavira also gave 5 vows and 3 ratnas that were there. Those were by the Jainism, that is Tirthanakaras. There were 24 Tirthanakaras, and that is how they have functioned, a spiritual leader. I am just recalling what we did in the previous class. Mahavira gave vows such as non-violence, truth, not to steal, not to have property, and brahmacharya. Again, what is the 3 ratnas that he gave? Samyak Gyan, Samyak Darshan and Samyak Charitra. Right conduct, right perception, and Gyan is right knowledge. So this is where we stopped in also understanding God is below their Jinnah. Now we will move forward and understand a little bit of Jainism and then move on to what is called as Buddhism. Now these Jains believed in whatever object that is there, living or not living, okay, has a soul. Animate or inanimate has a soul. Existing or not existing has a soul. Every being has its own purpose, and they believe that this can happen only through a purification process. Okay, a purification that is nirvana, okay, something called as a rebirth, having understood fully certain concepts, okay, attaining nirvana, that is freedom from rebirth, and then you are purified, you have a purified soul. Now they said purification is possible. How? Through meditation, okay, fasting. And it was like a punishment to the body. Fasting was like a punishment to the body, a destruction of the body. What will happen, students, if you don't eat and have water for so many days? First of all, you will start losing weight, you will be very skinny, that you will get those hunger pangs for some days. Then after certain days, your hunger is going to die off. You will never feel hungry as such. Now sometimes you eat breakfast, and if there is a 4-hour gap, 1 o'clock you are still hungry, isn't it? You go and eat. Your hunger is satisfied. If you don't eat, have you experienced it? Sometimes we don't eat. Sometimes we are traveling maybe somewhere, or maybe it's not possible to have a meal for the afternoon. And at that time, have you experienced how your stomach keeps on growling? It needs food. After a certain time, now 1 o'clock you are hungry, till 3-4 o'clock you don't have, your hunger dies there, isn't it? Even if after that you eat something, you don't feel like you have eaten. You don't feel full, you feel something else, uneasy feeling, isn't it? Here, through fasting, they used to give a punishment to the body. A feeling that they felt that we are going to get purified, okay? They were destructing their body, and that process was called as Sallekana. That is like a punishment to the body. You're destructing your own body through doing what? Through fasting. Alright? Okay. Now they believed in the process of karma. Now it's always believed, isn't it? What goes around comes around. That is your karma, they say. Whatever you do, you get in return. That's the concept of karma. They believed in this. They believed in the process of having a fate for everybody, your karma that is there. Now that was one of the important aspects of Jainism. What is an important aspect? This one, likewise, karma. After that, now they felt a human being can attain salvation, the highest point there, maybe fully spiritual, highest form of understanding yourself. Okay, free from everything, free from the difficulties, free from any obstacle that is happening in life. How are you going to get that highest possession there? A salvation, a purification that is happening. It is only through holy and good acts that you do. Anything holy or any good act that you do, through that you get salvation, is what they believed. Now, in order to attain enlightenment, to understand, to seek knowledge at a larger level, what they had to do? Enlightenment of what? Enlightenment of the soul. They said every being, living or non-living, has a soul, possesses a soul. Now this enlightenment of the soul, that is understanding the soul properly, we had to achieve through getting freedom. Freedom how? By moving away from our body. We are attached to our bodies. They say our soul is attached. Here they said the enlightenment of the soul should happen when you get freedom and you come away from your bodily senses or your body. You are free from the bondage of your body. Now, there are two sects in Jainism. These are Shvetambaras and Digambaras. Shvetambaras and Digambaras. Okay, Shvetambaras and Digambaras, two sects in Jainism, like two different divisions. Now, these Shvetambaras who are there, Shvetambaras who follow, like in Islam you have Shias and Sunnis. In the same way, here in Jainism, it's Shvetambaras and the Digambaras. Alright, now these Shvetambaras, they are followers who wear white clothes. Okay, white clothes. They whoever follow that, believe in that, they wear white clothes, Shvetambaras. Okay, and these Digambaras don't wear any clothes. If you have seen those people who are on a pilgrimage, they do walk without clothes on the road, because that's their belief. That's their belief. They go walking on the roads as a part of their religious practice, that they are going somewhere on a pilgrimage. Those are Digambaras. They don't wear anything. The Shvetambaras wear white clothes. Alright? Okay. Now, these teachings of Mahavira were put in 12 volumes. Okay, were put in 12 volumes. They were called as the 12 Angas by Jains. They were called as 12 Angas by Jain. Now, they were all written in the Prakrit language. They were written in Prakrit language. Now, a group of Jains, they migrated. They went from one place to the south. Now, why did they go? They were in Bihar and there was famine there, and they came to the south and they settled down in Shravanabelagola. Okay, they have settled down in Shravanabelagola. Now, from there Jainism again spread, and lot of works were written in Kannada as well, Telugu and Tamil languages. Once these Jain followers came to Shravanabelagola in the south, a lot of work on Jainism and the teachings of Jainism was written in Kannada, Telugu and Tamil languages as well. Now, Kannada poets like the Pampa, Ranna, Janna and Ponna were also Jains. Okay, they believed in Jainism. Alright, we will move on to what is called as Buddhism. Now, Gautam Buddha, his earlier name was Siddhartha. He was born in the 6th century BCE. Siddhartha was his earlier name, and then later he was called as Gautama Buddha, who was born in 6th century BCE. Now, his father was Shuddhodana. He was the king of the Republic of Shakya. Alright. Now, this Siddhartha, or Gautama Buddha, he left his family. He left all the riches that were there. His father was a king. He left all the riches, he left all the luxury that was there. He left every family happiness that was there, everything that is associated with the family. He left all of them and went on to live as a hermit. Okay, far away from everybody, involving himself in religious practices, involving himself in religious aspects. Hermits stay far away from people, far away from the society. Basically very, very far from wherever people are. Okay. Now, he didn't like what was happening in and around him. He had a different perspective. He had a different view of what was happening, and he went on to seek truth. He went on to find out what is truth, and it was a long journey for him to find out what really this truth was, because his mind was all disillusioned. That is, he had a perception, but it was wrongly taken otherwise. And this delusion that was there for him, he didn't like it. So he went on this journey for the search of truth. Now, he attained enlightenment, okay, a spiritual way of understanding. He became Buddha. Now, after becoming Buddha, he was called as the Enlightened One. The Enlightened who was called a Buddha. Buddha was called as the Enlightened One. Now, after he was called as the Enlightened One, he went to Sarnath near Banaras. Then there was a deer park there. There he gave his sermon, his preachings that were there. That preaching that he gave, or his first sermon that he gave, was called as Dharma Chakra Parvatana. Dharma Chakra Parvatana. Parvartana, okay. Parvartana. Alright, this he gave in the Deer Park. Deer Park. Alright, now in this sermon of his, he preached 4 truths and the 8 ways of paths that you have. 8-fold paths that you have to live for and 4 noble truths. Now, in the 4 noble truths, he declared that the whole world is of sorrow and suffering. That is, everybody has suffering, everybody has sadness. In the 4 noble truths that he said, the world is full of sorrow and suffering. All have sadness, all are suffering. Now, these 4 noble truths of his explain the root cause, explain why this society or why the world has sorrow and suffering. Now, Buddha, once he was enlightened, once he understood, he found out the root cause for this sorrow and for this one, sorrow and suffering, that is desire. We wish to have more than what we have. We are not happy with what we have. Now, I gave you an example in the lesson economics, isn't it? Our wants are unlimited. Our wants are never stopping. It will never end. I want that top today. I want this, t-shirt today. I want that shoes today. I want that phone. I want this and I want that. I want. My want will never end. I will never put a full stop to my want. A desire to have more is the root cause of sorrow. Now, somebody has something and I don't have it. I feel, oh, I don't have it. That is my desire that I should have it. Because I cannot have it, my desire is not fulfilled, and when my desire is not fulfilled, I have sadness. That is sorrow. Alright? Okay. Now, how do you lead a peaceful life? Once you get out of this kind of desires that you have. Okay? See, we should desire for something, that I want to become this one. I want that. Yes, desire is needed. But excess desire is always said, isn't it? Within your boundary, within your limits. Why? Anything beyond it is bad. Anything excess is bad. Too much is too bad. So he says our excessive desires, our desires that are more should be reduced, and only then we can lead a peaceful life. Then he told about the 8-fold paths that were needed in order to eliminate these desires. This is called as the middle path. Now, if you have excessive desires, you understand properly now what these 8-fold paths are, so that you can also implement it, whatever Buddha told. Alright, 8-fold paths in order to eliminate all your desires that are there. First one is action, right action. Now, my right action is, do I need it or no? I should know whether I need it or no. Right speech, speak properly, to the point. Okay, whatever you have to say, convey it properly. Right vision, see well, think beyond what you have to think. Don't be stagnant there. Don't be in the same position. Think beyond. Right livelihood. Live your life fully. Enjoy your life, but you must have a right way of living. Right effort. Don't put your effort everywhere. Put it for the right purpose. Put it for the right thing that you want to do. You will ultimately get your result. Right recollection. Understanding. Okay? Recollecting your own ways, recollecting your own thoughts, recollecting your own emotions, understanding what you are. Right a way of resolving things. That is why they believed in non-violence. Right way of resolving is what? Having a non-violent method. Don't go and fight, don't go and slap somebody, no. Right way of resolving, talk. That is why he said right kind of a speech, right vision. Okay? Right effort, right action. The last one is right thought. Have your thoughts right. Even within yourself, if you think I can't do it, you will possibly your brain will process in the same way and say you cannot do it. You continuously say to yourself, even if it is the hardest task that you have to do, I can do it, your brain will process in the same way and you will be able to do it. Okay, try this on yourself first. You are first always. Okay, I should be first. My understanding of myself should be first. Then I understand others. Okay, I must understand myself. All right. Now, who were these followers? Who followed people in Buddhism? They were wealthy merchants, artisans, common people, all of them, rather half of the population was inspired by this new teaching of Buddhism. Now, Buddha gave his messages in Prakrit language that was understandable by a common man, and he could relate it to various aspects of the traditions, various things of the traditions, because Prakrit was a language that everybody spoke there, and that relating to them was very much easy for Buddha because of the common tradition that they had. Now, whatever was happening in the cities, life also started to change there. Now, these kind of new religions became something that brought light in their lives, a ray of hope in their lives when they were in difficult times. Most importantly, what aspect did it take was of transforming or changing the lives of people. That was the major aspect or the major function of these two religions. Now, Buddha and his followers visited some of these cities at Kosala, Magadha, and cities on the Gangetic plain to spread their message, to preach there, to understand people and make people understand certain things. Now, they walked from one city to another and they led their life for others. Okay. Now, in the 80th year of Buddha in his life, okay, he had a very glorious life and a very successful life. In this 80th year, his life came to an end at Kushinagar. That's what he died in Kushinagar, and that event is called as Mahapari Nirvana. Mahapari Nirvana. Next, after that, these viharas, places where he had visited, was constructed. A vihara was constructed. Then people preserved all important things that Buddha used and constructed stupas. Okay, you can see the Sanchi stupa there, constructed these stupas in the memory of whatever Buddha did, whatever Buddha accomplished, and they started to worship him. Now, this is how the first kind of temples, okay, idol and idol worships began. That is, installing Buddhas in all these stupas and worshipping him. With that came the practice of idol worship, or our first temples that were being constructed. Now, once Buddha died, his followers collected all his teachings and in the form of Tripitakas. Okay. Okay, Tripitakas. All his teachings were collected in that form. Now, these Pitakas, they were Vinaya, Dhamma and Abhidhamma. Okay, these were Pitakas that is his teachings that were there. Now, as times went forward, as people tried to understand, there was a disagreement. People didn't agree with what Buddha and his teachings were. Now, different branches or different places where people of his or his followers started to preach and make people understand really what it was. Then certain sutras also came into being. Okay. Now, a lot of organizations are together who are adopting these ways of what Buddha told us. Now, foreign invasions also happened at that time. when city-states in Greece were coming up, ancient Persia also at that time had a very powerful empire. Now, these two areas in Greece and Persia engaged in continuous fights that were there. Now, Achaemenians were one of the groups that in Persia which ruled at that time, and then in the 6th century BCE, King Darius of that dynasty had a very strong empire. At that time, his kingdom extended up to the Indian border during his time, and in the 4th century BCE, the Macedonian king Alexander, he won over these Greek city-states and he captured Persia. There was a fight, isn't it? Continuous fight, and King Alexander captured Persia. Then the part of Persia which has been spread up to the Indian border, till the Indian border was there, that empire was spread, and that position also came under the control of King Alexander. Now, after taking over Persia, Alexander entered India through the passes of Kandar and Hindu Kush. Then he went to River Ravi and BS rivers, and he could not go further. So he crossed the Indian border through Jhelum, and on his way back he died at Babylonia. Okay, at Babylonia. Now you can read that battle between Alexander and Paruva and understand what more of things have to be done. Now, North Indian art and science have been also influence of Greek art. Okay, Greeks have influenced that. Now, a art form of Gandhara art existed at that time, and thus has been of influence. All right, students, we are going to we have finished the lesson, and let me tell you certain things that are important, and then we will wind it up. Now, first you understand how did it begin? How did these two religions rise? Just like any other religion that is there, this is also practiced. This is also people believe in it. Now, what people's beliefs are, what people's traditions are, we must leave it to them. We should not impose any religion or any tradition on them. That is their free choice, isn't it? We have a choice for religion as well. We can choose the religion we want. So when we have this choice, we cannot impose people to believe what your religion says. Let them believe what they have to do. Now similarly here in Jainism and Buddhism, whatever they believe, we must respect them. Now whatever Buddha said or whatever Mahavira said, in its own sense, it is true. It makes sense. Sensible thoughts that were put. What he has said, right action, right thought, right livelihood, are things that are necessary every day. If we do implement it, then it is easy to understand certain things. If it's not the way, if it's the other way around, we are not doing anything, then we may find it very difficult. So try and process your brain or process your mind into understanding these things. Any religion you belong to, you have to live, you have to say the truth, okay? You have to have your right action, you have to have your visions, your resolving thoughts, or your thought, whatever it is. Any religion you belong, these don't matter, because this can be applicable everywhere. You can apply it anywhere. Now, understand how it grew and how they focused on certain things. Then in Jainism, the Tirthanakaras, the 4 principles that were then Mahavira, how he achieved enlightenment, what did he preach, his vows, his 3 Ratnas that were there, then how Buddha, he left everything to become a hermit, his 8-fold paths and the noble truth of how we should leave desire, excessive desire. He said excessive desire. He didn't say only desire. He said excessive desire, we must control it, we must leave it for having a peaceful life. Otherwise it is sorrow and suffering. Alright, then how did people started to follow, how these stupas were built, how idol worship started, and at that time, how people were influenced by other foreign invasions also that were happening. Alright students, thank you very much for listening. In the next class, we will come up with another lesson.